What's up, homies of the interwebs? Lugnuts.Guapo coming at you from Maverick Harley-Davidson, and today we're gonna talk FatBob, the love-or-hate motorcycle for one specific reason, and we'll get into that here in a second. But let's just roll that tape real quick, shall we? So, pretty simply put, that headlight is the reason why people love or hate this motorcycle. Say what you want about everything else, but that is the one thing that kind of makes or breaks this motorcycle in my mind. And honestly, a lot of the customers that I've spoken to, they love how it rides. They love the semi-forward controllers that it has because it's a very comfortable motorcycle. But that headlight, yeah, some people don't like the phallic look to it. I don't know if I should leave that in there. It's really the biggest complaint, to be quite honest with you. But that headlight, man, aesthetically, the rest of the bike probably is what attracts people, but that headlight, some people love it, some people hate it, and other than that, I mean, the rest of the bike is pretty cool. I guess it depends on who you ask, right? So after all these years, about been 4-ish years, what do we really think about the FatBob? Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think it's an incredible machine. I think it handles great. Obviously with the M8 stock from factory, it's what an amazing motor. It takes very little to get it above 100 horsepower. I mean, not a lot of money compared to a twin cam specifically. And I mean, just look at it. It's definitely something that you would want to have in the apocalypse, right? Or at least in the Harley lineup. That's what most people think anyways. My biggest complaint is going to be something that is not necessarily the motorcycle itself. Okay, so here it is. This is what I hate about this motorcycle. Like the tires that come from factory, these big knobby looking tires, not a very good tire. And what I mean by that is not that it doesn't grip or does what a tire should do. We've seen these things cup over and over and over and over again. Just put some Michelins on there and honestly get rid of these tires and you'd be a lot happier. All right, and here's my problem number 2 with this motorcycle is this little gas cap. It rattles. I mean, it rattles. It's so annoying. And it really, I mean, you could just, it drives me crazy, but that's not a problem unique to this motorcycle. It really has to do more with that gas cap, and honestly, I haven't done my research to really know if there's anything to replace it. And the last issue that I see with this motorcycle, after seeing it for 4 years straight, and riding it for about 4 years on and off, obviously I don't own one, but I ride them every single time they come in on trade or we get a brand new one to do a photo shoot or whatever the case may be, is that gas tank. I do not like what the dash looks like, and I do not like how small that tank is. If you remember, the Dyna had a pretty sizable tank, and it was the Dyna version was kind of like the cruiser of all the Dynas. It had the more comfortable seat. It just rode more comfortably. It handled really well, and you could go the distance. Obviously, this engine is a lot more fuel efficient. Therefore, you probably don't need that big tank. But I think it would be nice to have it, and I think that's unfortunate. But now to the things that I really like about this motorcycle, and I'll throw in some caveats as I go. I obviously love the inverted front end. Who doesn't love an inverted front end? Kind of the same stuff that you would see on a lowrider S. The internals of this front end is maybe not what you want it to be, but the good thing is it's already inverted, so you can change the springs, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the internals on this is probably not the most impressive thing you've ever seen. Obviously dual disc on the front. Of course, who doesn't like dual disc, especially if you want to be aggressive. And I honestly think that this and the lowrider S are actually very close together in handling. There's something that Harley-Davidson has been really good at. It is putting fat front tires on their motorcycles and actually make them handle. A good example of that would be the Sportster 48. And the exception to that rule would definitely be the new FatBoy. One of the other things that I absolutely think Harley nailed it on is the seat. This is probably the one Softail that has my favorite seat from factory. It's comfortable. It just is. It's basically like a mini step-up seat. Maybe for the passenger, that's not a lot of cushion. But for the rider, That seat is awesome. Honestly, this is one of the seats that I would keep on it. Even on the Dyna seat on the FatBob was my favorite. I even had a Super Glide, an 04 Super Glide would say that just swapped the seat for just a stock FatBob seat. And I know that a lot of people have done that. So the seat is absolutely incredible on this motorcycle. So should you or should you not buy a FatBob? Honestly, out of all the Softails, it's probably one of my favorites along with the Lowrider S, but this one is a little bit more equipped than the Lowrider S. And as long as you get the 114, I mean, what else do you need? Obviously, if you're gonna do, you know, club style and whatnot, there's options for you. If you don't like that headlight, there's also options for you. And I mean, for the Lowrider S, you need to add, you know, passenger pegs, passenger pillion, or it just depends on what you're wanting. I think this is the better all around. If you exclude the Heritage, which has floorboards, bags, windshield, all that kind of stuff, which I don't personally care for, but outside of that, I mean, it's a fun motorcycle. It handles amazingly, and honestly, with the drag bars and the forwards, it's actually, you're not as stretched out as you would be on a Dyna. It's actually a very comfortable fit. I'm about 6 feet. Yeah, I dig it. So what are your thoughts? Like, subscribe if you like this kind of content, and drop your comment below. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or hate my guts, or whatever the case may be. But anyways, until see you next time, get on your Harley and get some wind therapy. Later.